YouTube, welcome back. Don't talk to me. We have a build idea for what we're going to league start on Tuesday. But first, let me tell you that there's so many good builds. We've spent the past 48 hours discussing all kinds of good stuff. If you're interested in playing like the best of the best builds, the Sork stuff, building 1,000 mana, doing any number of big mana things on a Sork sounds awesome. I'm so excited to try all kinds of builds. We're going to league start with a Druid, and we're going to play Serpent Strike. This is one of the most scuffed planners I've ever seen. Let me give you a rundown real quick. We are a leech build, so we're using Bleeding Heart. We have lots of life and options to build more. We have lots of armor. We'll get armor from other sources, and we have ways to convert armor if we want to. We have lots of resources for building armor if we're interested in that. We're dual wielding, but we have Ursine Strength. We have a couple points in Boar Heart for Aspect the Boar. As a druid, we also have 10 points in Hide Skin, 5 points in Impervious. So we should have lots of good defenses available to us. We also have lots of ambient damage going on, and hopefully the leech can keep us nice and topped off. So that's what the defenses look like. The offenses of the build are a huge meme. We're playing Serpent Venom, which was terrible, but just got buffed. It's got this node here, which is kind of the entire reason for us exploring this. Shattered Immunity, with 3 points in it, gives 3% more damage per poison stack on the enemy, 3% more damage per frostbite stack on the enemy. It's worth noting that this has no cap on it. It reminds me of Thorn Totem back in the day, which had hit damage per poison, and you would stack up 1,000 poisons on a boss, and it had no cap, so you just did like insane damage with the Nightshade Briar node. This node is very similar. It's actually bigger. It's 6% more damage. It's more than 6% because 3% times 3% more damage, and it has no cap on it. So we're gonna use this. We're gonna build melee critical strike chance. It's like flat N% increased. We're also gonna build a bunch of vitality, at least 50 off of this node. And for our defenses, we're gonna grab a couple points over here as well. Maelstrom will give us bleed chance. Bleed chance gets converted into frostbite chance. Frostbite and poison are the two most important things. So we're going to try to have poison and frostbite as much as possible. This dodge might end up as dodge. This might end up as armor instead. These nodes are nerfed, but I think they're still very interesting for scaling our defenses. In Swarmblade form, I have Swarmblade at 24 points and Serpent Strike at 24 points. You don't need that, but in both skill trees, you can use extra skill points really, really well. So having just 20 points is fine, but as you get more, you'll be happier with having a whole bunch more. I think I want one of these points over here into the crit chance instead, because I think the crit chance is really good. It gives us rage and damage. So we're going to build some extra defenses down here and proc Maelstrom. And then we're going to proc Tornado on the top right. Tornado will be a way for us to apply poisons to the enemy. We could spec into something else to scale this a little bit more, but I think just having Tornado with a bunch of procs, the lightning, the storm orbs, to apply poisons and some frostbites to the enemy will be important for us, because that scales all the Serpent Strike damage down here. Thorn Totem, again, is just going to be a way for us to... it actually gives us flat armor in the Shaman skill tree, but it just applies more poisons to the enemy. If you had a different way of sustaining your life, you could instead opt into the... what's this thing called? You can instead opt into a Serpent's Milk to have your minions apply more poisons for you, 200% minion poison chance. But I think Bleeding Heart is the least intrusive way for us to get like extra leech or survivability into the build. Because other than this, like you gotta be life regen or something, and then it's like it starts warping out the rest of the build as well. There's a couple concerns for how to build like resistances or crit avoidance. Do you want to be crit avoid? Do you want to be fortify? There's idols for crit avoidance, and there's idols for elemental resistance while transformed. Some combination of those. If you can go like a crit avoid blessing or maybe a poison chance blessing, maybe you could spec your character a little bit differently. But I think swapping out the percent armor and instead getting frostbite on hit sounds like a great place to be. So the frostbite applies to everything, not just to, Serpent Strike or not just a tornado. Remember, poison and frostbite chance are the two things we want the most. That about does the character. I guess the mastery has like some defense, some offense, bunch of a bunch of fucking random nodes. This is I guess we call this a cook. This is a cook. It's life, vitality, Swarmblade form, stuff. It looks like 4,000 life right now, but I've only 1 LP on Peak of the Mountain. You can get 2 and 3, maybe even 4 LP pretty easily. Got 2 LP on the Atera's Path, prioritizing vitality. 1 LP on the Vibratail, prioritizing health. And then 0 LP on the Carcinization. You get 2 LP. I don't know. 2 LP seems like a pretty straightforward thing to do. Put some kind of text on that as well. This is not a Mana Sorc. It's probably not the best build to come out of 1.1. However, something about this node and Serpent Strike gives me pause. I think it might be good. I'm excited for Tuesday. I'll see you there.